For the past couple years, one thing or another has just gotten in the way or stopped me from being able to.
Noah Brown's life, once seemingly a picture of rustic adventure and self-sufficiency, as seen on Alaskan Bush People, has become a whirlwind of public scrutiny and online drama. Naturally, as a reality TV star, his every move is dissected by millions, and navigating the complexity of living under the watchful eyes of the public has proven to be a high-stakes game. Today, we're diving into the heartbreaking tragedy of Noah Brown from Alaskan Bush People. If you love this show, you'll want to stick around. Let's get started. Family drama and restraining order. Back in August 2024, Noah Brown and his wife, Rain Brown, took the bold step of filing a restraining order against Rain, one of Noah's sisters, citing an ongoing history of harassment, threats, and erratic behavior. The accusations against Rain were not just casual allegations, they were serious and deeply troubling. Noah and Rain claimed that Rain had been stalking them, threatening them with firearms, and even engaging in what was described as abusive and erratic behavior, potentially fueled by substance abuse. The Brown family, already living in the public eye as part of Alaskan Bush People, had long struggled with maintaining a balance between their private lives and the demands of being featured in a reality TV series. The claims made by Noah and Rain raised significant concerns about the safety of their children, with the couple expressing worries about Rain's emotional state and the potential risks posed to their family. The situation quickly escalated from a private family matter to one that drew widespread media attention, as it painted a picture of a family in crisis. Dramatic, right? Well, there's a whole side to the Brown family you haven't seen before. Stick around as we unravel things. The public's perception of the Brown family has always been a double-edged sword. Fans of Alaskan Bush People are drawn to the reality show because of its portrayal of the family's rustic, off-the-grid lifestyle in the wilds of Alaska. However, the harsh realities of their personal lives, often concealed by the gloss of reality TV, suggest that much of the drama that plays out on screen is only a small fraction of the family's true experiences. Despite the public image of unity and survival against the odds, the Brown family's real struggles with mental health, addiction, and interpersonal conflict remain far less visible. Noah, Rain, and Rain's situation is just one example of how the pressures of living under constant media scrutiny can strain familial relationships, sometimes revealing more dysfunction than solidarity. This particular case drew attention due to the severity of the accusations and the already fractured relationship between the siblings. Despite the gravity of the claims made by Noah and Rain, the court ultimately decided not to grant the restraining order. The decision came down to a lack of sufficient evidence, which meant that the allegations could not be substantiated to the court's satisfaction. This outcome left Noah and Rain deeply disappointed, with no formal legal action taken against Rain, but it also prompted an outpouring of emotional responses from the family members involved. The court's decision was not the end of the public feud, though. It merely marked the beginning of a new chapter in an already fraught relationship. Rain Brown, in response to the court's decision, took to social media to address the accusations and to offer her own perspective on the situation. She shared her struggles with mental health and substance abuse, offering an insight into the personal challenges that she has been facing in recent years. She claimed that the accusations leveled against her by Noah and Rain were not only exaggerated, but also untrue. In her post, Rain alleged that Noah's wife, Rain, had been dishonest in her portrayal of events, particularly when it came to the allegations of threats and harassment. One of the more striking claims Rain made was that Rain had changed her name, implying a desire to distance herself from the family. Rain also took issue with what she saw as a betrayal by her brother Noah. Rain's supporters were quick to defend her, pointing out the very real challenges that individuals with mental health issues face, especially in the public eye. Substance abuse, which has been a part of Rain's history, was cited as a potential factor in her erratic behavior. But Rain insisted that she was working on her recovery and should not be judged solely by her past mistakes. In a surprising move, Rain ended her social media message with a sincere Merry Christmas wish to Noah, suggesting that despite the ongoing conflict, she still harbored some hope for reconciliation with her brother. The Brown family's internal struggles are not unique in the world of reality television, where the pressures of fame, public scrutiny, and family dynamics often collide. In this case, the situation between Noah, Rain, and Rain was made all the more complicated by the public nature of their conflict. Reality TV shows, including Alaskan Bush People, often capture only the most dramatic or sensationalized moments of a person's life, leaving out the nuanced, everyday reality that families face behind closed doors. As a result, the audience can sometimes be left with an incomplete or even misleading view of the true state of affairs. So, what do we know about the man at the center of it all? Noah Brown as seen on Alaskan Bush People. The Brown family gained widespread attention in May 2014 when Alaskan Bush People premiered on the Discovery Channel. The show quickly became a staple of reality TV, offering viewers an intriguing glimpse into the lives of a family that lives in isolation in the wilds of Alaska. Centered on the Brown family's journey of self-sufficiency, the series chronicled their efforts to survive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. From building homes to hunting and fishing, the Browns appeared to embrace an adventurous, rugged lifestyle, embodying a sense of independence that captivated audiences. Filming locations in remote areas such as Copper Center, Hoonah, Chichagof Island, and later in Okanogan County, Washington, added authenticity to the family's portrayal of living off the grid, though questions about the show's authenticity have often been raised. At the heart of Alaskan Bush People is the Brown family: Billy, the father, and Ami, the mother, along with their 7 children: Matt, Bam Bam, Josh, Bear, Gabe, Noah, and Rain. The show portrayed them as a tight-knit family, united in their determination to live independently and stay connected with nature. The family's life was shown as one of constant challenges, from building a homestead with limited resources to enduring harsh Alaskan winters. The show depicted their daily struggles as they tried to make their way in the wilderness, with each family member contributing to the collective effort. These portrayals, often showing the Browns struggling to build shelters, hunt for food, and adapt to life in the wild, resonated with many viewers who admired the family's tenacity and resilience. Noah Brown, one of the central figures in the show, became known for his quiet demeanor and his passion for building and creating things. Born on July 18, 1992, in Alaska, Noah was one of the youngest of Billy and Amy's 7 children. His upbringing in the wilderness, alongside his siblings, instilled in him a strong sense of independence and a practical skill set, including carpentry, hunting, and survival techniques. While Noah was often depicted as more reserved and thoughtful compared to some of his more outspoken siblings, he became a fan favorite due to his calm demeanor and his role in helping build the family's homesteads. Noah's personal life also began to capture the attention of viewers. In 2018, he married Rain Alicia, and their relationship became a subplot within Alaskan Bush People. The couple's journey together, including their move from Alaska to a new location, was chronicled on the show, and viewers witnessed their efforts to build a life together, despite the challenges that came with living in a remote setting. Noah's decision to settle in Washington state with Rain marked a shift in the family dynamic, as it meant leaving the Alaskan wilderness behind. While the decision to relocate was portrayed as an attempt to offer stability and comfort for their growing family. It also sparked some controversy, with critics suggesting that it was inconsistent with the family's previously established identity as wilderness survivalists. As the years went by, Noah continued to be an integral part of the show, but his life outside of the series began to take on more significance. Like many of his siblings, Noah's public persona became increasingly entangled with the media scrutiny that comes with reality TV fame. However, Noah also faced personal challenges, particularly with his family dynamics. His relationship with his sister Rain in particular became strained, with accusations of harassment, threats, and emotional distress emerging in 2024. This drama unfolded publicly, and Noah found himself at the center of a legal dispute when he and Rain filed for a restraining order against Rain, as noted earlier. But there's more to this story. How real is the Alaskan Bush People reality show? The authenticity of Alaskan Bush People has been a topic of debate since the show first aired in 2014. Over the years, viewers have questioned the portrayal of the family's extreme survivalism, with some alleging that many of the moments shown on screen are not as authentic as they appear. The Browns are depicted as living off the land, building homes from scratch, and surviving in harsh conditions. But there has been a growing chorus of voices arguing that this portrayal is overly dramatized, if not entirely fabricated. Critics claim that the Browns, despite their rugged image, do not actually live in the remote wilderness areas, as the show suggests, but rather in more comfortable, accessible locations, with the wilderness lifestyle only serving as a backdrop for dramatic storytelling. Several sources, including past employees and production staff, have raised concerns that the reality of the Browns' living conditions is far less extreme than what is presented to viewers. One of the key points of contention revolves around the claim that the Browns do not live as remotely as the show makes it seem. While the series presents the family as living deep in the Alaskan wilderness, the reality is somewhat different. It has been reported that, at times, the Browns were living in more developed areas, such as near the town of Hoonah or on Chichagof Island, which are not as remote as the show suggests. It was later revealed that much of the family's living space was built with the help of outside contractors, and the Browns were sometimes seen commuting to nearby towns for supplies and assistance, undermining the portrayal of their supposed isolation. Critics have pointed out that the family's claim to live off the grid in a rugged, self-sustaining manner seems to be more of a fantasy constructed for television audiences than a reflection of their actual lifestyle. While it is true that the Browns have lived in various remote locations, including Copper Center in Alaska, the portrayal of their daily lives as extreme survivalists is frequently questioned, as more evidence emerges of their use of modern conveniences and assistance that contradict the wilderness survival narrative. Moreover, there have been allegations that the show has staged many of its more dramatic moments for entertainment purposes. From the family's interactions with wildlife to the construction of their homes, many scenes have been called into question for being fabricated or exaggerated to increase viewer engagement. The Browns' emotional struggles, including moments of crisis and conflict, are often presented in a way that feels overly scripted, with moments of heightened tension playing out on screen, but leaving viewers to wonder how much of it is authentic and how much is staged to fit a narrative. This kind of scripting and exaggeration is not unique to Alaskan Bush People, as many reality TV shows have been accused of manufacturing conflict or exaggerating the severity of certain situations for the sake of drama. But the Browns series has received particular attention due to its emphasis on the family's supposedly primitive and self-sufficient lifestyle. These questions surrounding the authenticity of Alaskan Bush People have had significant consequences for both the show's fan base and its business dealings. Initially, the Brown family had cultivated a loyal following of viewers who admired their apparent ability to live off the land and survive in the harshest conditions. Fans were drawn to the family's rugged individualism, seeing them as a symbol of perseverance and self-reliance in the face of nature's challenges. However, as more doubts emerged about the true nature of the Browns' lifestyle, a shift occurred in the public's perception of the family. Fans who once admired the family for their bravery and survival skills began to feel misled, and skepticism started to overshadow admiration. This shift was particularly noticeable on social media, where fans began questioning whether the Browns were simply playing a role rather than actually living the way they were depicted. The online backlash was compounded by reports that the show's portrayal of the Browns' wilderness survival was exaggerated, if not entirely staged, leading many to feel betrayed by what they perceived as the show's manipulative tactics. This shift from admiration to skepticism among fans had financial repercussions for the Browns as the show's brand began to suffer. As viewers became increasingly disillusioned by the discrepancies between what was shown on TV and what was actually happening behind the scenes, their enthusiasm for the show waned. Companies that had once been eager to partner with the Browns to market outdoor gear, survival tools, and wilderness-related products became more cautious. Brand deals and sponsorships that had been a significant source of income for the family started to dwindle. Advertisers, wary of associating with a brand that was seen as increasingly untrustworthy, began to distance themselves from the Browns. Merchandise, which had once been a booming business for the family, saw a decline in sales as fans became less inclined to support a brand they believed was based on false premises. But the family's problems don't end here. Legal issues and controversies. The Brown family's troubles with legal issues and controversies began to surface early in their rise to fame. One of the most significant legal issues involved the Alaska Department of Revenue, which conducted an investigation into the Brown family's eligibility for the Permanent Fund Dividend, or PFD. This annual payment, which is distributed to Alaska residents as a share of the state's oil revenue, requires residents to meet certain criteria, including maintaining residency in Alaska for at least a full calendar year. However, in 2014, the Department of Revenue found that the Brown family had misrepresented their residency status to collect PFD funds they were not entitled to. This revelation was part of a broader investigation that uncovered over $21,000 in misappropriated funds, leading to accusations of first-degree unsworn falsification. The misrepresentation of residency was a serious issue, as it involved 60 separate counts of falsifying information on PFD applications. The Brown family had applied for the dividend despite not meeting the state's residency requirements, and the funds they had unlawfully claimed were ultimately found to be a form of financial fraud. The investigation, which drew considerable public attention, painted a picture of the Browns attempting to exploit the PFD system by misrepresenting their living situation and falsely claiming to be permanent residents of Alaska. The revelation was a major blow to their credibility, especially considering their public persona as a family living off the land in the Alaskan wilderness. In response to the allegations, Billy Brown, the patriarch of the family, and his son Joshua entered a plea deal in 2015. The plea deal was designed to resolve the charges against the family members and avoid a lengthy court battle. The agreement covered the entire family, except for Matt and Rain, who were not involved in the plea. Billy and Joshua agreed to plead guilty to the charges in exchange for a reduced sentence, and the case was resolved without further legal proceedings against the other members of the family. The legal fallout from the investigation had long-term implications for the family. The fraudulent PFD applications and the subsequent plea deal put the Browns in a precarious position, as their involvement in illegal activities became a matter of public record. This not only damaged their image as a hard-working, self-sufficient family living in the wilderness, but also caused fans and viewers to question the authenticity of their claims. Despite the legal challenges, the Browns continued to appear on Alaskan Bush People, and the show's producers worked hard to maintain the family's image as rugged individualists. However, the PFD scandal remained an ever-present reminder of the legal and ethical issues that had tarnished the Browns' reputation. While they continued to enjoy some level of fame and continued filming, the legal consequences of their actions had lasting effects on the family's public image and financial stability. The PFD scandal also had a wider impact on the public's perception of reality TV in general. As viewers became more aware of the Brown family's legal troubles, they began to question the authenticity of Alaskan Bush People and the broader trend of reality television, which often blurs the line between fact and fiction. The scandal highlighted how reality TV shows, while often marketed as showcasing real lives, can sometimes involve manipulation and deceit, leading to a more skeptical audience. The Brown family's legal troubles served as a cautionary tale about the potential pitfalls of living under constant public scrutiny and the consequences of misrepresenting oneself for financial gain. But wait, we're not done just yet. More heartbreaking tragedies faced by Noah Brown. In 2020, one of the most catastrophic events to strike the Brown family was the destruction of Bear Brown's home in the Loomis area of Okanogan County, Washington, due to the devastating Palmer Fire. This wildfire was part of a brutal fire season that swept across the Pacific Northwest, fueled by extreme heat, drought conditions, and erratic winds. The Palmer Fire, which ignited in mid-August, burned approximately 17,735 acres of land and destroyed numerous properties in the region, including Bear's newly built home on the North Star Ranch, the sprawling 435-acre estate that the family had invested in after relocating from Alaska to Washington state. The loss represented the obliteration of personal memories, tools, supplies, and the hard-earned fruit of years of labor dedicated to establishing a new life. Bear, who had been living on and off the property and preparing it as a permanent home for his then-partner Raven and their newborn son River, was left with nothing but ashes and the heartbreaking task of starting over. His anguish was made public when he took to social media to share the devastation, writing that everything was gone and posting images of the scorched remains, a chilling testament to nature's indiscriminate fury. The wildfire came during one of the most destructive fire years in the United States. In 2020 alone, over 10.1 million acres burned across the country, making it one of the largest wildfire seasons on record. Washington state itself saw over 800,000 acres burn that year, with Okanogan County being one of the hardest hit. The financial toll was staggering. For the Brown family, who were largely self-reliant and used to managing their own infrastructure, the loss was compounded by the challenges of rebuilding without the robust safety nets that urban homeowners might have access to. Insurance claims, rebuilding permits, and replacing off-grid infrastructure all became daunting tasks in the aftermath. And for Bear, who was still adapting to fatherhood and an increasingly complicated family dynamic, the emotional burden was immense. The incident forced the entire Brown family to confront a new level of vulnerability. Unlike the dramatized survival scenarios they had grown used to on television, this was not a narrative of man versus wild for the cameras. It was real, raw, and merciless. But the grief that began with the fire would only deepen. On February 7, 2021, tragedy struck again when Billy Brown, the beloved patriarch and the ideological heart of Alaskan Bush People, died suddenly at the age of 68 following a seizure. He passed away at the family's Washington property, and emergency responders who were called to the scene confirmed that he had gone into cardiac arrest. Billy had long suffered from heart issues, including an aortic aneurysm and respiratory complications, and had been advised by doctors not to live at high altitudes. Yet his determination to remain close to nature and to his family's roots in the wilderness overrode medical concerns. His sudden passing, though not entirely unexpected given his declining health, still sent shockwaves through the family and their fan base. Billy was more than a father. He was a mentor, a spiritual leader, and the architect of the family's frontier philosophy. His death marked the end of an era for the family and the show. Noah Brown, in particular, bore the emotional weight of this loss in a deeply personal way. As one of the older children, Noah had increasingly taken on responsibilities to help lead the family through difficult times, especially as Billy's health waned. After Billy's death, Noah stepped into a more prominent leadership role, not just in managing daily life on the homestead, but in helping to uphold the family's legacy, protect its brand, and care for the younger siblings, including Rain and Bird. But the responsibility came at a cost. The grief of losing his father, combined with the stress of ongoing legal disputes within the family and personal marital struggles, placed immense pressure on Noah, who had once been regarded as the family's steady hand and builder. Billy's passing became a defining emotional trauma in Noah's life, reshaping his sense of purpose and identity within the family unit. The effect on Alaskan Bush People was equally profound. For a show that had built its premise around the strength, unity, and survivalist ethos of the Brown clan, Billy's death changed everything. Season 13 of the show, which aired later in 2021, became a tribute to Billy's life, chronicling not just his passing, but the family's collective grief. It was no longer just a reality series about surviving in the wilderness. It became an exploration of what it means to survive emotionally, to mourn, and to carry on after the loss of a central figure. Viewers witnessed the Browns in a way they never had before: raw, vulnerable, and in mourning. For many longtime fans, this humanized the family more than any bear encounter or blizzard ever could. The production team faced the difficult task of continuing a show without its star and foundational character. Billy had been the voice of wisdom, often appearing in interviews and voiceovers that provided context and cohesion to the family's chaotic lifestyle. With his voice gone, the show took on a different tone, more reflective, sometimes fragmented, but also more real. The family's grief became the new narrative, and fans were left to decide whether to continue following a journey that now felt less about adventure and more about healing. However, most tragically, Noah Brown is going through a highly publicized and emotionally difficult separation from his wife, Rain Alicia Brown. The couple first met in Hoonah, Alaska, around 2016. Their relationship progressed quickly, and within 2 years, they were married. The couple tied the knot in an intimate ceremony on August 15, 2018, in Idaho, surrounded by close friends and family members. Their union was featured on Alaskan Bush People, with fans watching Noah, a quiet, mechanically gifted, and introverted member of the Brown family, step into marriage and fatherhood with visible commitment and affection. Rain was quickly introduced to the family's off-the-grid lifestyle, and while she tried to adapt, reports and fan speculation hinted at tensions within the family, particularly with Noah's sister, Rain Brown. The friction, which reportedly involved issues of identity and personal boundaries, would continue to escalate in the years that followed. Together, Noah and Rain welcomed 2 children. Their first son, Elijah, was born in early 2019, and their second son, Adam, arrived in October 2021. Parenthood was central to Noah's life after marriage, and he often spoke publicly about his devotion to creating a safe, stable home for his wife and children, especially after the tragic death of his father, Billy Brown, in 2021. Despite Noah's efforts to build a peaceful family life, serious challenges emerged behind the scenes. By late 2023 and early 2024, fans began noticing subtle signs of strain. Noah became less visible on social media, and the couple was rarely seen together in public or online. In August 2024, Noah and Rain filed for a restraining order against his sister Rain, citing harassment and threatening behavior, allegations that included stalking, firearms, and substance use. This legal battle placed immense pressure on the couple and brought deeply personal family issues into the public spotlight. By early 2025, rumors of separation were confirmed when Noah announced that Rain had asked him to move out. The announcement, made via his social media accounts in January 2025, was direct and heartbreakingly personal. He stated that he was no longer living at their shared home and asked for prayers and support as he adjusted to the new circumstances. Shortly afterward, it was confirmed that the couple was officially separating after 6 years of marriage. For Noah, the divorce represents a personal tragedy that cuts deeply, not just because of the emotional rupture, but because of what marriage and fatherhood symbolize to him. He had always expressed a desire to provide stability, to rise above the chaos of his upbringing and the sometimes volatile dynamics of the Brown family. The end of his marriage, in many ways, shattered that aspiration. Noah's demeanor in the months following the separation has reflected his emotional weight. Friends and fans noted a change in his tone. His posts became less frequent and more introspective, focusing on his children, the wilderness, and small personal projects as a way to find peace amidst upheaval. The divorce adds to the growing list of personal tragedies. Noah and Rain are in the process of finalizing their divorce and are working on co-parenting arrangements for their 2 children. Noah remains in Washington State, focusing on his children and private life. Rain has kept a lower profile, though she did engage publicly in the feud with Rain Brown, expressing her side of the story and defending herself from what she claimed were false narratives. Meanwhile, Noah continues to appear occasionally on Alaskan Bush People, though his role has shifted from being a central figure to more of a background presence. The emotional toll of his father's death, his legal battles with his sister, and now his separation from his wife have all contributed to this transformation. Noah, like his siblings, has been left to grapple with the combined weight of personal grief and public expectations. The emotional toll of losing Billy, his recent divorce, and facing the family's ongoing struggles has weighed heavily on Noah. While the Brown family has always portrayed themselves as resilient and capable of overcoming adversity, these recent events have raised questions about their ability to recover and thrive. The loss of their patriarch, combined with the ongoing public scrutiny and internal conflicts, presents significant challenges for the family and the future of the Alaskan Bush people. Only time will tell whether the Browns can rise above their challenges and restore their legacy, or if their public and private struggles will lead to the end of an era for both the family and their beloved show. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.